Hello, Dr. Ray.
Hi, Dr. Ray. How are you?
I'm sure I'm going to get really good advice from you.
Well, I don't know about that.
You're right on track with us. You're right on track.
My idea, my theory, my guidance is a bit of a stretch.
Everybody make a mistake.
Does that comfort you?
No.
Am I close?
No.
You are so wrong.
You're so wonderful.
Why do I have to be the insightful professional?
Someone intelligent on radio. Yay.
Did I make you feel a lot better or what?
No, you made me feel worse.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
I'd have been talking sooner, but I had to put my phone on silent. It's one of my great fears, you know. I triple check my phone. You know how people say they go to bed and they check the locks 3 times, or they check their stove 4 times to make sure it's off? I check my phone 3 times before I go into Mass, because I want to just make sure it's on silent. Every once in a while you're in Mass and you hear this. Everybody looks to see who the perp is that does this. Well, I've had this happen on the program a number of times, but you didn't hear it. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, the phone is far away from the microphone, so it doesn't really pick it up. The microphone's directional. And then the other reason is that many of you are not even listening to me. And if you don't listen to the program, then you're not going to hear the phone at all. I'm Dr. Ray Guarendi. The program is The Doctor Is In. The drug that I dispense is not Docazin. That was a brand name and is very expensive. The program now doesn't cost anything to listen to. It's generic. The tricyclinol is the drug that we dispense. It's good for you, for Bratus majoris, Wuss-Dad syndrome. If you would like a little bit of that drug, there's a number to call. That's all you have to do. 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL. Why would you call? Well, that's up to you. Most people call because of a situation or circumstance in their lives. I'm a psychologist. That's what I do for a living. That's what I've done for a living for many decades now. I used to say many years now. Now I got to start saying decades. Pretty soon I'm getting to the point where, close to a century now. That said, sometimes people call in to help other people. The silent implication is that I fell short, although I'm not going to take that personally. Sometimes they call in because they have a general question about something in the culture or faith as it intersects with psychology. Or sometimes just a diagnosis they don't understand. And I like those because I get to pontificate. That's the word you have to use on Catholic media. I was looking in Catholic media today, and they recommend using the word pontificate at least once a month. So the number to get onto the program is 877-57-EQUAL, 877-573-7825. 2 great EWTN radio affiliates are celebrating an anniversary. St. Rose Radio, serving Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You know, I was in Murfreesboro a little while back, and I thought Murfreesboro was a small little town. It's not. It's a decent-sized city. I think it's next to, is it Nashville is the capital of Tennessee? Am I doing that right? Not Kentucky. Kentucky is, somebody will correct me here. And Portsmouth, Ohio. I pronounce that right because I live in Ohio. It's spelled Portsmouth, but it's Portsmouth, Ohio. And both of them 10 years now. Divine Mercy Radio, serving Worland, Wyoming. I was out in Wyoming one time, and man, I never saw so many stars. I don't understand why Wyoming has so many stars and we don't. Didn't figure that out. I wonder if they paid for them. They've been on the air for 12 years. So Richard Richard at St. Rose Radio and Father Bryce Lundgren at Divine Mercy Radio. From all of us here at EWTN. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Keep it rolling. Thank you so very much. I got to do an invitation here before I do the monologue. Guadalupe Radio approached me about a month ago. Said, Dr. Ray, you want to offer a course on parenting, on discipline? I said, I haven't done one of those for a long time. 7-week course. It's going to start in September 21. And we're going to dive deep. We're going to get you in charge. If you know people who are struggling with their parenting, I'm going to guarantee you it's going to make a major difference in your parenting confidence, in your parenting security, in your parenting self-confidence, in your kids' conduct. I guarantee it. And why do I say this? Not because I'm uppity, but because it is going to be similar to a lot of parent education I do in the office, which, for the most part, if the parents do it, works very, very well. Here on the radio, somebody calls in, they'll get a 4 or 5 minute comment on something that's going on. Can you imagine? 7 weeks? And we'll dive into all the major behavior problems, all the struggles that parents have going against the culture. And you grandparents, talking about your kids who are raising the kids in a certain way and feeling frustrated by it. Well, sign them up. Now, you go to GRN, Guadalupe Radio Network. I'd like to think it's Guarendi Ray Network, but it's not. It's Guadalupe Radio Network, GRN. Online.com and / GRN Radio. GRN. Oh, this is my memory falling me short here. I know I have 4 listeners at Guadalupe Radio Network. GRN Online / Academy. And you'll see my face, and you can click on it. There's other programs there too, but you click on it, and we'll get you signed up. That would be very nice. I'm hoping to limit it to 50 people, so rush on in. Don't blame me if your kids are heading for a reality show. There's something you can say to somebody that's going to make them mad, and you never realized it would make them mad, and it'd be the last thing you'd think would make them mad. But I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen a couple of times. What is it? It's provocative. And I've seen some pretty intense reaction. One of the reactions was the person drove their car through the garage after someone said this to them. And the other one almost got into a physical fight. Boy, it's got to be pretty bad, right? What could it be? Dr. Ray, can you even say that on the radio? Oh, yeah. It's, as a matter of fact, it is something that is said on the radio constantly. Most of the time for a very positive purpose. And the promise is, I'll pray for you. Now, if you're saying that to somebody, one, who doesn't want your prayers because they think that your prayer is to correct their conduct, correct their attitude, correct their approach to life, their beliefs, you make them real mad. Who wouldn't want prayers, right? Well, it depends. Just goes to show you anything taken out of context, not put in a proper context, can be misinterpreted. Highly so. I'll pray for you. Say you're in a dispute with somebody, or say that you've tried to point out something to someone about their attitude or their belief or their morals or their lifestyle, whatever it is. And your implication is, I'll pray for you because you need prayers, because you're lost, because you're misguided. That makes them mad. It does. Be careful how you use I'll pray for you. Most of the time, people welcome prayers. Even non-believers welcome prayers. I've noticed that. Even people who think there's no God, they don't say, come on, what are you doing? What are you going to pray to the sky? There's nobody up there. No, they'll say thank you, or they'll acknowledge it, or they'll say nothing. They won't get angry. But if you say, I'll pray for you to someone who thinks that you're praying for them because they really need it, because they're just so far gone morally, you be careful. Be very careful, because that can make them real mad. I've seen it happen. I was on the site. I didn't say it. I wasn't the one who said it. But one case I heard about it, and the other case I was right there. And the one person said, I don't need your prayers. And the other person reacted rather violently. So, make sure that when you tell somebody you're going to pray for them, that it's meant in the right way. 877-573-7825. 877-57 equal. I'm Dr. Ray, and Ann from Buffalo has got a rather generic question, which is good. And we'll talk to Ann when we get back, but we have lines open, so I want to hear from you. Thank you for joining me.
Looking for a retreat venue for your youth group, sports team, ministry, or staff event? St. Francis Retreat Center in DeWitt sits on a picturesque 95-acre property, complete with 3 large conference rooms, 2 chapels, 2 dining rooms with commercial kitchens, meeting spaces for smaller groups, overnight lodging, and a professional staff to make your event a success. Call 517-669-8321 or visit stfrancis.ws to book your event today.
Hi, this is Vanessa Denhagarmo. As a mom, I've always wanted to give my daughter every advantage. That's why we turned to Sylvan Learning, and I truly saw a difference in her confidence, skills, and academic performance. Today, Sylvan offers personalized one-on-one academic coaching online from home. Whether your child is struggling, catching up, or wants to get ahead, Sylvan will create a learning plan designed specifically for them. Visit mysylvancoach.com to learn more.
This week on Christ is the Answer, Father John gives us some Catholicism 101. Hey, you're listening to the radio right now. What do you know about the Catholic Church? Do you know what the Eucharist is? It's just that little piece of bread, right? Well, what if I told you there's so much more to it than that? Come and join us this week as Father John Ricardo holds up this inconspicuous food and breaks down why it is the source and summit of our lives. Tune in for Christ is the Answer, Monday through Fridays at 11 a.m. on Ave Maria Radio.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Do you feel as though life is flying past you? Are you desperate for a way to find moments of peace and quiet? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian prayer series, will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord, Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
Being loved for my mind. I'm a weightlifter and softball player. Not all that important to be loved for my mind. But here on the program, I can accept that. Let's go to Ann from Buffalo, New York, Station of the Cross. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Dr. Ray. It's nice to talk to you. I always love your show.
Well, thank you.
I was listening to you about turning off the phones, and it reminded me of the time I went to Mass, and the priest stopped just before he was going up on the altar, and he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, I got to check my phone, because otherwise I'd be playing When the Saints Go Marching In." That would shake up the Mass a little.
Well, what's up there with this? With you hearing about neuroplasticity, huh?
Well, I went to physical therapy today, and I've been going for a while because I have lumbar stenosis. I'm a retired nurse, and I was having issues with balancing on one foot. And the therapist said to me something about the brain connection and neuroplasticity, and all I could think of was, okay, I've heard of that. I don't really know more about it, and I thought since you work with the brain, you might.
Well, wait a minute. I really a little offended here, Ann, that you said that I might, meaning that there's a possibility I might not. A little hurtful there.
Dr. Ray.
Seems like a little lack of confidence in me.
I have much confidence in you.
Well, what do you understand neuroplasticity to mean?
I mean, I read something about it years ago, and I think I threw the book out. And
it wasn't one of mine, was it? Okay.
No, it wasn't.
All right. You don't remember what you read about it? Okay. Let's make it real simple.
No, something.
It's your brain's ability to learn new stuff through rewiring. All right, we've got countless
Okay.
trillions of neurological connections up there. I mean, the brain is by far the most complex thing in the universe that we know of, obviously. We don't know what's on the far side of the universe, but everything we know of, nothing even comes close to the complexity of the brain. So, say, for example, let's take you. Now, you got some stenosis, which is narrowing of the spinal cord, right? The bones in the spinal cord. Now, you probably are kind of learning some new muscular movements that are going to relieve some of the pressure on that, correct?
Right.
Okay. So given that, you're training your brain. Your brain is saying, okay, I will learn these new muscular movements that you're showing me. It isn't the muscles that are doing this. It's the brain that's saying, oh, well, all right. You've got some new things. All right, I will incorporate that into my wiring, and I'll learn it. Neuroplasticity is, for example, somebody has a stroke, and oftentimes you'll say, well, it depends. Did they lose any function? Did they gain function back, etc.? That's the brain adapting. They've said, for example, folks who have a lot of neural connections through all kinds of things, through stimulation when they were younger, reading a lot, trying new activities, staying in shape, eating right, whatever it is that increases the number of neural connections in their brain, something like dementia, maybe an Alzheimer type. They are a little better able to compensate because they have more connections. The brain is so adaptable at learning new things, and the new things that you learn is actually a wiring. For example, all right, just now you and I were talking about neuroplasticity, right?
Yeah.
So tomorrow, if somebody says to you, "And what's neuroplasticity?" You'll say, well, it's the brain's ability to rewire itself as it learns new things. Now, that in and of itself was an example of neuroplasticity. You learned that. That wiring is up there. You made a new connection. And that's really what it is. Most of the time, we think about it in terms of cognitive abilities or memory, but it can also be muscular. For example, when you lift weights and you break down muscle tissue, you have these small little micro tears that heal themselves and heal themselves and growing stronger. The brain is involved in that too, because the brain is saying, okay, this is the kind of movement you want to make. This is the kind of strength you want to have in this movement. All right, I've got that. I'm wired into it. I know that. So it's really a beautiful thing, and in a lot of respects, that's why many people who have had strokes can come back partially or fully from a stroke where there was damage.
Pretty amazing.
Yep, God says, let me develop here something that is really pretty cool, and He did. He truly did. So tell me, what kind of?
Thank you very much.
Well, my dear, what kind of exercises are they having you do to take some of the pain out of your spine and the nerves?
I do backward bends. I do pulling on pulleys and sidestepping with pulleys, and just to work on the core and stepping. So he's got me doing a variety of things based on how I am when I get there. Today was a bad day, and he gave me a lot of different things, and it really helped. He's brilliant.
He's increasing your
teaches,
strength, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He teaches students. He works at the college, and I've known him for 20 plus years, and he's just a brilliant guy and really down to earth.
Well, I'm glad for you, dear. You're absolutely right. The kind of strength that compensates for some of the things that can go wrong. A lot of times, orthopedic guys will tell you, they'll say, you have a stenosis that is major league severe. And you say, I have no symptoms. I have no pain. I have no sciatica. I'm not confined in my motion. I don't have to sit down. And then other people have a much less stenosis, and they have pain and all kinds of neuromuscular effects. So it's just funny how that works.
Yeah.
Are you a retired
Thank you
nurse?
for the insight.
You're welcome, dear. Are you
I am,
retired?
yes.
Are you retired? Okay. What
Yes.
What department did you work on?
I worked GYN, medical surgical, neurology, neurosurgery, pharmacokinetics, and sleep disorder.
Jeez. You were all over. You learned a lot there, girl.
Yep. And then I did a little school nursing, and there's no backup in school nursing. I really preferred the hospital setting. And then I took care of my parents till they died. And then I was like put on the shelf.
Well,
I try to make the best of what I got left.
Well, you got a whole lot of extra credit for taking care of your parents. You sure did.
Well, thank you.
All right. Did you ever read that book? I think it was, I'm not sure by the author. I think it was a guy, was Shel Silverstein. And it's one of the most sensitive, poignant books I ever read. My wife had it with the kids when they were growing up. It showed a mother taking care of her child, carrying her child, and growing up with the child and protecting the child and serving the child. And the child grew up into a fine young man, and the mother aged. And in the end of the book, the son was carrying his mother out of love because she was unable to ambulate on her own. And it showed the cycle of life. And it showed the son taking care of the mother as she took care of him when he was a baby. So it was beautiful. Brought tears to my eyes.
What was the title again?
You know, if somebody knows what I'm referring to, please call in, because it's a very touching book. It's for kids, but yet there's a grown-up message in it. It's a beautiful book. Andrew, check and see if Shel Silverstein was the guy who wrote that book. I don't know the title of it. Well, maybe you can look up Shel Silverstein and see the titles, and if there's one that sounds like it, like I took care of you as you took care of me, or something like that. And thank you, dear, and good luck with all that physical therapy, huh?
Thank you. Good talking to you. Bye-bye.
All right, honey. Bye. I remember probably about 20 years ago, I was having some trouble. I was having some pain in my back, and I thought, well, maybe it's from those years of lifting and everything. So I went in and I had some, I don't think I had an MRI, but I had a CAT scan, some x-rays. And the nurse called me up. And she said, "How are you even walking?" I said, "What?" She said, "Oh my gosh, your back is a mess." She said, "The doctor will call you." I said, "Okay." I'm thinking, oh man. So he calls me and I said, "Well, what'd you find?" He said, "Oh, nothing unusual. You have just the normal wear and tear of a guy your age." So I was like, oh, well, glad to hear that. That was 20 years ago. So if I had the normal wear and tear of a guy my age 20 years ago. 877-573-7825 is the number. A lot of lines open for you to call. It's only not even the halfway mark. Goes quick. 877, goes quick for me. I don't know if it goes quick for you. 877-57-EQUAL is the number. I only got about 30 seconds, so I might as well use it to do an advertisement. We only got one more week here. We're going down to Atlanta to tape the show Living Right with Dr. Ray. Live audience show on EWTN, season number 16. So if you go to thequestatlanta.com, you'll get all the details. 2 people called to say, "Love You Forever" by Robert Munch and Sheila McGraw. Thank you both. Love You Forever is the name of that very touching book. And I'd rather talk about that book right now than my ad for going down to Atlanta. 9 lines lit up to tell us this. See, you people, you don't call in here with problems, but as soon as I say, hey, look, I need your help, tell me. All 9 lines lit up to say Love You Forever by Robert Munch and Sheila McGraw. A beautiful story. Get it for your grandkids. Highly recommend it. (877-57-EQUAL) is the number. You can call to chat if you're a woman. Jaw if you're a guy. To emote if you're a female. to debate if you're a guy, to share if you're a woman, to argue if you're a man. I also got texts, very, very, very sweet. One text, Dr. Ray, the precious book is Love You Forever. And we got all kinds of folks called in to say that. And then the one I'm thinking of by Shel Silverstein was The Giving Tree. And both of those my wife read to the kids when they were little. So, and now that they're grown up, neither one of them reads my book. All right. Did you know this? Where'd that come from? So this sweet lady who works here in this, the studio here is in the bookstore, St. Raphael bookstore. And she said the book is Love You Forever. So apparently a lot of people know that book. I grew up with a guy, spent a lot of time at his house. I mean, it was kind of like a home away from home. And my memories of meeting him, I was probably 5th grade, 6th grade. And we stayed close friends all the way till he moved away when I was well into my 20s. And we've had contact periodically since then. Driving along a while back, he said, Raym, and that's what a lot of my close friends call me, Raym, but the really close friends call me Hobbs, the unnatural. He said, Raym, you know I'm an atheist, right? I said, I figured that. He said, well, I just wanted to tell you in case it makes any difference to our friendship. And I said, Dave, it doesn't make any difference to our friendship. Why would you think it would? Well, I know what you believe and I know what you think, and I just wanted you to know that. And I said, no, you're my friend, Dave. I grew up with you and you mean a lot to me. And I used to visit his mom after he moved away. She lived as a widow for a long time. And I visited her. And she got to the point where she really couldn't live by herself anymore. So he was a very handy guy. He could do an awful lot of things. Very bright guy. He quit college 3 weeks before he graduated. And then he went on to be a big shot at a large paint company. He built a mother suite onto his home. And he took his mother in, and for several years, he cared for her. And when she got to the point where she could barely do anything for herself, he fed her, he bathroomed her, he took care of her. I said to him one time, I said, why you moved to do this? And he said, and this reflects that Love You Forever book, she took care of me for years. She took care of me when I had no memories of her taking care of me when I was little. The least I can do is take care of her. And I said, Dave, I know you don't believe there's a God. But if there is, I have to believe he is so very pleased with how you took care of your mom till she passed. And he said, thank you, Raym. He didn't say, no, there's no God. Why, don't worry about it. I'm fine. No, he didn't do that at all. He told an interesting story. He had a German Shepherd. And this particular Shepherd was an Army-trained dog, but they had to discontinue the dog's Army presence because he was a little too unpredictable. But the dog was very smart. And one night, his mom, disoriented, left her little mother suite and headed for the stairs. But she didn't know the stairs were there. It was dark. She would have hit the stairs. She would have fallen, probably hurt herself pretty badly, if not killed herself. The dog jumped up and blocked her. He used his body to keep her from moving toward that top step. He blocked her off. He sensed it. I know we get a lot of calls on this program of people taking care of their elderly parents and all the frustrations that come with it. And one of the big frustrations, of course, is that they're no longer who they were. Dementia in all its forms strips the person of their personality, takes away their personhood. Slowly, they just fade away. And the frustration in the beginning is, don't be like this, don't be like this, stop it, come on. And then the frustration in the end is the sadness of watching the loved one slowly leave connection with you. And one of the things that's happening with many of us involved with taking care of elderly relatives who are at some point in the deteriorating dementia process is that we're living longer. In some respects, we are outliving our brain. Most of human history, life was much shorter, much shorter. Just as an aside, we suspect that St. Joseph died somewhere before Jesus began his active ministry. Mary was probably somewhere between 15 and 18 when she gave birth to Jesus. Joseph was considered an older gentleman. Now, when we think older, in our perspective, we're thinking 50, 55, 60. No, he could have been 30 because the life expectancy then was probably about 40. You made it to 40. You're doing pretty good. Why? No antibiotics. People died of infections. People died of illnesses. People died of all kinds of things before they got to the point where they had dementia. Or before they got to the point where their joints, like our previous caller, Ann, has stenosis in her spinal cord. Well, after many years. So I don't know Ann's age, but she's retired. So I'm going to assume she's somewhere in her 60s or 70s, maybe even 80s. And her spinal cord basically is just outliving its usefulness to her. Recently, I had some minor shoulder surgery, and I've recovered fully back in the weight room. And the surgeon went by me, and I said, Dr. Shepard, what'd you find in there? And he looked at me, and he laughed. He went, old shoulder. And he kept walking. But he told me later, he said, I'm glad we did it because your bicep tendon was hanging by a thread all those years of bicep curls. So, yeah, I was outliving my shoulder. 877-573-7825 is the number. It's only halfway through the program. Sure like to hear from you. And if you want to call in, many of you called in and said how much you knew that book and liked that book. You want to tell me what it meant to you? You want to describe it? Because I don't exactly remember the whole trajectory of that gentleman from a baby to taking care of his mother who almost was baby-like at the end. 877-57-EQUAL. That's the number to call to get onto the program. Thank you for joining me. Paul from Cocoa, Florida, gave a suggestion for a topic of a book I could write. How to Say No to Anger. Not a bad title there, Paul. I do have something very similar to that. It's called Living Calm, Mastering Anger and Frustration. So I do have a book out like that. Now I got cut off. Here we go. Benji Hobbs, my friend Benji, he must be listening to the program. Mark Shepard, Benji, I'll have to check. I didn't check your text. Just want to say we're going down to Atlanta next week, so this is it. You're not going to hear me badgering you for audience members after this week. Going down to Atlanta to tape 4 tapings of Living Right with Dr. Ray, August 18th and 19th, 5:30 to 6:30 and 7:15 to 8:15. Location, Holy Spirit Catholic Church. Audience is critical to the program. We've already got some bits planned. We're already going to include the audience in all of this. So given that, love to have ya. Got the numbers are pretty good right now as I've seen the most recent as I've seen, not as I seen. the most recent numbers, and I want to thank you, but I'm not going to be badgering you too much anymore because next week we're heading down there. If you go to thequestatlanta.com, thequestatlanta.com, it's a beautiful station down there in that huge Atlanta area, AM 1160, big boomer of a station. You can register, and you can come to 1234. Okay. All right. Let me see what Benji said here. Benj, you're a dear friend. Make sure. Benji is a dear friend of mine. Yes, Benji, it was Dr. Mark Shepard. That's who my orthopedic surgeon was, and he's patched me together more than once. Beth from Michigan. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Dr. Ray. I have a question to ask about the new trend. It's like a different world because I cared for my parents when they were sick and elderly as well. And now that I'm not sick, but I'm older and I spent every penny I had raising my children. My husband's business went belly up in 2008. I used all the pension I had from my job to put them through school and to pay off the house, et cetera, et cetera. And now that I'm in dire need, they have no use for me.
How many kids there, Beth? How many kids?
Well, I had 6 children, and I lost a daughter when she was 21. So I have 5 children.
And their age range?
40 to 29.
Do they have contact with you, or do they just simply say, nah, we don't really need you in our life, Ma?
It's kind of, they have contact with me once in a while, and I know they're busy, and they have their own families, because I was busy as well. But if my mother called me and needed something, or I wouldn't go weeks and weeks and weeks without talking to my mother, because my dad passed away 12 years before she did. And she was so low. I mean, I had her come. I had 6 kids. She came and stayed at my house for months because she didn't want to be alone.
Beth, I'm going to give you one of my interpretations on why you didn't do that to your parents, but your kids are doing it to you. Now, this isn't the only explanation, but I think it's a big one. It is. Your children were raised a lot more spoiled and self-centered than you were. Not because you meant to do that, but simply because they had an easier existence. They had an existence that was more comfortable. They had an existence with more material goodies. They had more options. They had more entertainment. And you sacrificed yourself for them. You did all that. And that kind of creates a self-centeredness in people, a higher percentage, I believe, among the young people, that, Mom, don't ask me to really reach outside myself for you, because I'm busy. I got things to do. I got stuff I want to do. I got stuff about me. Now, I'm not saying that's your kids, Beth. Who knows? Beth, you could be one of the hardest people in the world to get along with. I don't know. And all your kids would say,
really
yeah. Well, I know that's your opinion, but I know, and I believe you. But I'm just simply saying I have no way of knowing that. So your kids could say, if you knew my mom, you'd understand why we don't see her very often. But that aside, it's unusual to have 5 kids, ages 29 to 40, all of whom basically said, we really don't want to help Mom out that much. There's got to be some explanation for that. And one of the ones that I would point to is that an awful lot of the young people are now raised very much to be self-focused.
They weren't spoiled, though. So you're telling me it's my fault, Dr.
No. I knew you were going to say that. No, Beth. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying it's a function of the plenty that we've had in our culture the last 30, 40, 50 years.
They weren't raised with plenty. They didn't. I mean, they really weren't. They were not.
Beth,
they didn't have cars.
Don't give me that. Beth, they had hot showers. They had air conditioning. They had all the food they could use. Don't give me that. They didn't have to walk anywhere like our grandparents did, walking everywhere they went because they didn't have cars, indoor plumbing. They had a lot of creature comforts. And so did I. Okay, I got that part. But I'm saying that can certainly make for a certain self-focus that makes it harder to look outside yourself towards somebody in need, even if that somebody's a parent. That's what I'm saying. Now, the reason I went through all that gyration is because I smelled in what you were saying that you're taking this real personal. You know, how can they do this to me? I raised these kids. I tried to do my best with them. I gave them as best I could. And this is what I get in return. I don't know anything about your kids there, Beth. But here's what I would suggest. Your attitude would do well to be, I'm not going to distress myself over these kids' attitudes. I was asked to raise them by God as best I could, and I did. How they turn and look at me, I can't control. But I'm sick of being upset and distressed every time I get another sign that they're neglectful. That's the one thing you can control, dear. You can't control how they're going to react and treat you. You can't control that. But you can control your attitude toward it. And that's my suggestion for you. I wouldn't want you to cling to the idea that here's these 5 kids. What kind of a failure was I as a mother? That none of them look back toward me and say, hey, look, let's help mom out. I don't know all the dynamics there, but I do know that the one thing you can do is to not live in distress about it. And you can practice doing that. You can't snap your fingers and say, okay, I'm fine now. It doesn't bother me. No, you can't do that. But you can work at it. All righty, my dear. I got to let you go. This is Dr. Ray. I'll be right back.
Another year has come and gone. And whether you like it or not, Uncle Sam requires you to make an accounting.
Perhaps it's time to call Myler and Zipka. They work with you to legally minimize your tax bill and identify ways to reduce future taxes. Eliminate the nagging feeling that you're paying more taxes than you need to. Call Ken Zipka today at 734-930-5500. Myler and Zipka. Integrity, excellent value, and people dedicated to a long-term relationship. 734-930-5500.
Ave Maria in the Afternoon is underwritten by the following nonprofit organization: Real Estate for Life. Buying or selling your home or business property? Real Estate for Life can connect you with one of 1,400 pro-life real estate agents around the world. When Real Estate for Life receives a referral fee, they donate 70% to Ave Maria Radio and Human Life International. More information at realestateforlife.org or 877-LIFE-US1. That's realestateforlife.org.
I'm Matthew Handley. Join me on Saturday mornings as we take a look at our community and world from a Catholic perspective on Michigan Mornings Saturday. We'll discuss local news, touch on our weather forecast, feature interviews and original content, plus look at the best segments of the week from Ave Maria Radio. Saturdays at 8 a.m. is Michigan Mornings Saturday on Ave Maria Radio.
God has given each of us one life to live, and caring for our health is one way we can honor that gift. At Healthy Lifetime, we help you age with confidence, fulfillment, and the ability to enjoy what matters most. That's why our personalized health coaching for aging adults is built around listening, understanding, and helping achieve your goals. Visit HealthyLifetimeInc.com/Ave Maria to sign up. That's HealthyLifetimeInc.com/Ave Maria.
The doctor is in. After 3 years of listening, 27% of callers reported that their mother-in-laws came up to them on Christmas Eve and said, I've been so wrong about you all these years. You are a far better wife and mother than I ever could have dreamed of being. Yeah, 27% of our callers have said this. Look it up. Look it up. All right, we lost Christine. She had a song that she wrote about the Love You Forever book. And Christine is a professional singer. And she told our call screamer, Eric, that she was nervous. Christine, you're a professional singer. You sing in front of groups. I'm one person here. Dr. Ray, you have a listening audience? Yeah, about 100. 100 people listen to this program at last count, somewhere thereabouts. Jim is going through a breakup. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Doc. How you doing?
Okay, sir. How'd this breakup come about?
I think a lot of miscommunication, and then it just kind of came to a head last Friday.
Well, when you say miscommunication, what you're saying is that some things happened that didn't get smoothed out.
Right. Probably so. I mean, it's just I misconstrued where she said she needed space as I needed to leave the home for a little bit, and she just needed me to stay at the home but stay over at the other end of the house or something to that effect. But
you think that was the reason for the breakup?
No, there's more to it than that, Dr. Ray. But
I think so.
Yeah, there is. And, and I've got some past trauma from previous relationships. And when I see red flags of infidelity, I question it and brought it up, and it may or may not have been happening. I don't know definitively. I didn't have any hard evidence, but I still saw the red flags and said something. And
so you were living with this lady, Jim. You were living with this lady.
Yes, sir.
How do you justify that?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I'm assuming here. Okay, you're listening to Catholic media.
Yes, you're
so
right.
I'm assuming that your Catholic faith probably means something to you, and this would be a very clear disobedience to a core teaching from Jesus through the church. So how was it that you decided this is okay?
Well, we both we both are Catholic, and both question that, and just when I'm saying it, I'm not saying we're right. I know we were wrong in that regards. I do, but doing wrong like that, I understand that.
Well, here's the good news. You're not in that situation anymore, and you can, in fact, go to confession and confess it and say, okay, I have no intention of doing that again, even if we get back together again.
Right.
Now, my suspicion would be you probably have a better chance of getting back together if you didn't live together, because it sounds like whatever that closeness bred in you and your jealousy or your suspicion, and she accused you of being too controlling and too jealous and all of that, you were moment by moment there in her life, so you could, quote unquote, see all these red flags, and you got insecure. Does that summarize
yes,
it?
Much so.
Okay.
That's putting it in a nutshell.
Well,
and there's other things, Dr. Ray. I mean, but you know what? This is a short broadcast. There's months of things that occurred. It just I don't like confrontation, and so I just would take and just be quiet and just listen, and so after a while, it just, you build up after a while, and it just,
well, I'm curious here,
just
Jim.
came to a head.
Yeah, I'm curious. If it was a struggle for you two to get along, what was it that was appealing about this relationship?
When we were good, we were great. I mean, just great. But when it was not good, it was like walking on eggshells in my end of it. And I don't know about her, and I can't speak for her, and I won't. But
a lot of people say that, Jim. They'll say, yeah, when things are going good, it's great. It's a wonderful relationship. But when they're not going good, it's not a good relationship. Well, wait a minute. I think the quality of a relationship is what it's like pretty consistently. if you say, yeah, we have a lot of good times and then a lot of bad times. Well, that's kind of a comment on the overall relationship, isn't it?
That's just relationships. I mean, that's just life in general.
Well, yes,
you have
yes
good,
and
you take
no.
the good and the bad.
Well, wait a minute. Yes and no. Because it sounds like you were saying we couldn't resolve those things. As opposed to, yeah, we had rough spots, but we smoothed them out because we both looked at the other's perspective and tried to understand, and we were flexible and tolerant and forgiving and charitable. Mm-hmm. But you're saying, no, that didn't happen. This stuff just kept happening over and over again. Am I wrong again?
No, you're not wrong. I mean, it never got resolved, and she didn't want to go to do any kind of counseling, and I actually started to do that. She pointed it out, and I said, you know what, you're right. I need to do that. I need to get in that. But when I pointed out, hey, you probably need to do that too, and she brushed it off. So,
Jim, you're going to have to call me back because I got 10 seconds. So please call me back. This is Dr. Ray. I thank you so much for the company. Walk with God. Now, that's a relationship that
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.